Good evening and welcome. My name is Lucas Spellman, Incident Management Team 4 Information Officer. This evening we are going to talk about the Point and the Sites fire. We are sharing information about the status of the fires, containment efforts, and the safety measures. However, if you have additional questions, please submit them in the comments section so they can be addressed after the speakers. Update for this evening for the two fires. The Point fire, 1,207 acres, 60% contained with 1,120 personnel. For the Sites fire, it's 16,000 acres with 10% contained with 741 personnel. To provide you with the update on the current fires, I would like to bring up weather.
Hey, good evening. I'm Mike Seaman. I'm the incident meteorologist that's been assigned to both of these fires. I just want to touch a little bit on the weather conditions that we had that we were experiencing when these fires were running, and then what we're kind of transitioning into now. A very, very dry air mass with a cold front pushed through the area late in the weekend and early this past week. That brought very low humidity values. We saw humidity values in the 6 to 9% range across the area. That combined with gusty northeast winds really helped to drive both of these fires, both the Sites fire as well as the Point fire, with those winds really driving the fire along with the very low humidity. Since then, we've really transitioned into a different type of pattern. We've been building a weak area of high pressure overhead. That's basically bringing a little bit of higher humidity, warmer temperatures, but we've lost those winds that were really helping to drive the fire. And that high pressure is going to be with us for the next couple of days. We've gone into a bit of a warming trend. I'll start out here with the Sites fire. Today we saw temperatures in the mid to upper 80s across the fire area. And remember, I talked about how those humidity values were down in the 6 to 9% range a couple of days ago. They were in the 16 to 20% range today, so those have come up a bit. Also, the winds have become quite light. They're just very light southeasterly. A lot of it is just kind of channeling up the drainages, but they're remaining on the light side. We're not seeing those strong gusts. That's really aided in the firefighting efforts. Same thing over here on the Point fire. That's even further west, so we've got higher humidity over there. We've seen humidity values in the 30% range. The winds are generally very light, and they're basically being driven by the terrain. So that's going to stay the case as we go into the remainder of the week and the upcoming weekend. The main story the next couple of days is going to be the building heat. On the Sites fire, we're expecting temperatures to warm into the low 90s tomorrow, and then pushing the 100-degree mark Friday and Saturday. We've got a heat advisory in effect heading into the weekend, so that's one thing to be of concern. But again, we're going to keep those winds fairly light. The humidity is going to stay around the 20% range. So those two variables, weather variables, will be favorable for firefighting efforts. It's really going to be the heat that we're dealing with. And then as we get into Saturday and Sunday, we will start to put a little bit of a southerly wind across the fire area. Those sustained winds will be in the 10 to 15 mile an hour range. Further west on the Point fire, that warm-up's going to be similar, not quite as warm. We'll see temperatures reaching the low 90s as we get into the weekend. We're not expecting the southerly winds this far west. Those winds will continue to remain terrain-driven. So that's it for fire weather. I'll hand it off to fire behavior.
Good evening. My name is Jonathan Pangburn. I'm Fire Behavior Analyst with CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 4. I'm going to start off with the Point fire in Sonoma County. Very minimal fire behavior or fire activity today, and no spread, no change in the perimeter. And we can expect that to continue as firefighters continue their mop-up operations in Sonoma County. Moving into the Sites fire in Colusa County, we saw a bit of an uptick. You might have seen, anyone who was in the area and able to look at this, we had some smoke production up here in the northern area, and this is near kind of Devil's Elbow out toward the Sites Ladoga Road area. That's the area where we had some fire behavior activity picking. It's making some slope-driven runs where it had some favorable conditions and it was able to move through, especially the dry grass area. It's not moving through the brush nearly as quickly or as rapidly as it would be if it were drier later in the season. And thankfully, with what you heard from weather with the slightly higher humidity and especially the decrease in wind. Firefighters have been able to use that to their advantage with the decreased fire behavior activity in the rest of the fire to really start to get a handle on this. And again, the smokes that you saw were in the Devil's Elbow area at the northern end of this fire. When we can continue to see the same thing for the next day or two as firefighters continue to get line around this and take care of it. Thank you.
Good evening, Shane Lauderdale, Operations Section Chief with CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 4. I'll start with briefing on the point fire, and as fire behavior very well described, firefighters are just simply working on finding and destroying any heat sources that are within the perimeter of that fire. And they'll continue to do that for the next several days, but at this point, we are quite confident that the fire will stay in the perimeter that you hear on the board. Moving over to the sites fire, we had extreme success yesterday, as I reported, in building line on the west side of the fire, and that held throughout the day. Firefighters continued to validate the line and to improve it and mop up to 300 feet in, so lots of progress on the west side of the fire. As fire behavior described, on the north end is where we had our challenges today. It's extremely steep and rugged terrain that is just south of the site's Ladoga Road and the repeater site that's at that location. We did have some spotting occur. Firefighters quickly redeployed to their alternate lines and began building direct fire line along the spots, and are now, as we speak, building line along the north edge of the fire to grapevine drainage, where we have a significant fire line already constructed, and it's their goal tonight to continue carrying that fire to where it has actually spread on its own to the Grapevine Creek drainage and is holding on the fire lines we have built. So although we had a challenging day, we had an extreme amount of success today, and firefighters will continue to build on that through tonight. And tomorrow morning, we intend to improve the lines on the east side of the fire and the north end, and believe that mop-up operations within the next 2 to 3 days in the operation.
Good evening. My name is Mike Marcucci, and I'm the unit chief here for the Sonoma-Lake-Napa unit of CAL FIRE, which also encompasses Colusa, Yolo, and Solano counties. I just want to take a moment and thank our partners that we've been working with hand in hand and step by step since Sunday, primarily our local fire departments within Colusa and Sonoma counties, the Board of Supervisors in both of the counties as well, the Colusa and Sonoma Sheriff offices, but most importantly the communities, not just in Sonoma and Colusa County, but across our region as well. The support has been overwhelming, and we definitely appreciate it. These fires have signaled that we are definitely in our peak fire season now. And hopefully you have taken those steps to take care of your properties and do your defensible space. But if you haven't, it's not too late. But we do want to put a couple of criteria on the work that still needs to be done if you have that to be done. We do ask that you do mowing and weed whacking and such when it's below 80 degrees and above 30% humidity. And as you just heard from our meteorologist, this weekend's probably not going to be that time to do that. So we just want to make sure that you're being mindful of your surroundings and the weather that you're working under when you're doing that work. It's also a good reminder for the Ready, Set, Go campaign that you can find at readyforwildfire.org. Having a plan, having your go bag packed, and knowing what to do when the evacuation orders are given and that time comes to evacuate are very, very important. Now is a great time to review those so you are ready in case this might happen in your community. Finally, I just want to again thank everybody for their continued support. Incident Management Team 4 continues to do the good work here in the unit, and we appreciate them being here, and we look forward to putting these fires into containment. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Bob Counts. I am one of the incident commanders for CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 4. Well, as you've heard, we had a very dynamic day today. And due to this hard work that was accomplished by the firefighters on the point incident. We're pleased to announce that as of 1700 hours this evening that all evacuation orders were lifted. So great news there. The sites fire here gave us a little bit of problems on that northeast corner. The firefighters are in there working hard and putting in line to accomplish that mission for us. We were also able to support the Sonoma-Lake-Napa unit today with a new fire that broke out in Lake County. We were able to send 4 strike teams of engines and 2 strike teams of hand crews over to Lake County from the point incident to help the Sonoma-Lake-Napa unit get a handle on that fire before it became another major fire. We continue to have excellent support from both Sonoma and Colusa counties, their sheriff's offices, and all the constituents in both communities, and we are thankful for that. Thank you.
We would like now to take some questions from the previous speakers.
Yeah, good evening again. The first question I'll read it. In this morning's briefing, it was mentioned that you're working in a resource deficient environment. Does that mean there's insufficient crew and or equipment available just for this fire or the entire state? And that's an excellent question. When this fire started, there was multiple fires going on throughout the state. Yesterday morning, we were in a resource deficient situation where we were competing against all the other fires across the state for resources. Since then, fires have improved across the state, and we did get a surge of resources this morning provided by CAL FIRE in our northern region to the tune of 8 strike teams of fire engines and 8 strike teams of crews that we're very, very thankful for to be able to carry out our mission here.
So one of our viewers asked, why does the Point Fire have twice the staff for a fire 1/10 the size? It's an excellent question. It's because that fire began several days before the sites fire and had a significant impact on structures and human life that was threatened. And so therefore, ensuring that that fire was contained and did not become a problem for the greater community, we ensured that those resources finished their mission before they were redeployed. As the IC said, they've been redeployed, and we are presently using them on other fires, both in Lake County and working on assigning them on a fire here tomorrow.
So for more information, please visit CAL FIRE's website at fire.ca.gov. Also follow Fire Sonoma-Lake-Napa unit, which we call LNU, and on their Facebook, X, and Threads. And if you missed any portion of this meeting that we just had, you can also watch it a little bit later tonight or throughout the day tomorrow on Facebook and on YouTube. This concludes our community meeting. Thank you again for joining us tonight.